Hello and welcome to Fierce. This program celebrates the diversity of LGBTIQ identities and perspectives. Fierce is produced in Bundjalung country at 2NCR Lismore and can also be heard on podcast at fiercefm.podbean.com and in New Zealand on Fresh FM, as well as all over Australia through the Community Radio Network.
Fierce FM on Spotify and YouTube. I want to honour the traditional owners of the lands where you are living. They took care of these lands for thousands and thousands of years and then shared this land with us at great cost to their own lives. I want to thank them for the care they have given and continue to give, to sit on the earth, listen and care for country. I also want to thank the fairies and crones who came before us in history to fight for our human right to love fiercely.
Hi, this is Hibbo from The Quiver, and you're listening to Fierce FM.
Hi, this is Louise Vallet, artist and Red Rebel. You're listening to Fierce FM.
I wish I was a Red Rebel, and I could be. We're going to find out how. We've got on the phone two XR witches. Megan Draghon is a member of XR Rebel Brigade, also a reclaiming witch and healer. And Louise Vallet is a visual and movement artist, a witch, and an XR Red Rebel. It's almost spring.
It is spring.
My God, he wouldn't know it looking outside today.
Yesterday was like summer.
Today's monsoon.
Isn't that the nature of spring?
I remember spring being cool and clear. Do you think things are changing?
They are.
Yes.
Definitely.
I know last year was El Nino. This year is La Niña, which is really exciting because it's going to be wet, but it's still going to be hot and probably going to be more severe storms. For listeners who don't know what XR is, please explain.
Extinction Rebellion is a combination of civil disobedience, regenerative cultures, and finding new ways of organising, which is called self-organising systems.
And so you're doing it to remember the people from our future, our children's children and their children, to have a planet which is habitable. We've probably got 10 years left if we keep going the way we're going.
I don't think we've got that long, Peter. I think it's more urgent than that. We've just had the bushfires go through, we've had the droughts. We are in climate change now. We're living with the consequences of it.
I was on the convoy with Bob Brown when they did the Adani trip.
Save our precious water, leave coal in the ground. Save our precious water. Stop the gardening, stop the gardening.
About 30 singers from the Northern Rivers Folk Choir sang that walk. It was bizarre seeing all those massive screens of visual ads everywhere and everyone's shopping. Some people would stop and look at what's going on here. Nobody knew or cared. They just wanted to get on with their day and have techie lives without any worries about things that are changing fast. People who are denying climate change. What do you say to them?
I think there's very few people that can pretend that they're not aware the climate is changing, that we're facing mass extinction when it comes to our wildlife. It's just so overwhelming that people just shut down and they don't know what to do about it. So enormous when you really drop into the reality of it, that it's just too confronting for some people. You're not going to be able to force people through the force of argument to change their minds. And that, I think that's one of the strengths of the Red Rebels, is another way of helping people to crack open their hearts, is to hold a safe space, a compassionate space for people so that they can really drop into the reality and the truth and feel their feelings, which is going to be a whole super feeling. And that's the way to make a difference, is to create opportunities for people's hearts to crack open.
We were talking earlier about the forest down south. There's 3 forests down there that are scheduled for logging, and there's koalas living in there, and there's just a tiny little bit left of it because of the fires, but they still want to come in and take out what is there. But the big win we've had just in the last couple of days was NEAF has stopped it. Already there was an inquiry, so they had stopped it. And then now they've found all these scats within 4 days. Definitely a whole colony. As you said, Cindy, a victory! Thanks to,
That's right.
thanks to all you people who care. A good thing for me to remember is you only need 3% of population to care that much and to make a change. And then everything changes. Megan, you just said that majority of people know about climate change. I don't know. There's a lot of people who still believe in Scummo and Tony Abbott, who just became an Australian something or other for the something or other in England. And they're all just men that are corrupt and don't care. Maybe they know something, maybe there's no hope. So they're just going to take what they can and then get out of here. I don't know.
I think that's probably more the case, Peter. Pretending that they deny it, and I think that they know it, and they've just been waiting until they think it's going to be too hopeless and we're beyond the point of actually being able to make a change. And that's why it's so important that people engage in civil disobedience in their own way and non-violent direct action. But if people don't actually want to put their bodies on the line on the streets, there's plenty of other ways that people can be part of Extinction Rebellion. So they can be part of the regenerative cultures. So providing support for the activists and for the rebels. They can do things like join Red Rebels. There's also techie people organising cells of people and empowering people to have mandates to take responsibility for particular areas. So there's shared responsibility and accountability. That's really extraordinary system of organising. And so there's lots and lots of different ways that people can be part of the movement without necessarily putting their bodies on the line.
Goddess loves diversity. There's so many options. Just type in Extinction Rebellion Australia.
Exactly, Peter. There's a website for Extinction Rebellion Australia, and there's a Northern Rivers Extinction Rebellion website and Facebook page as well.
Cindy, is that a red rebel behind you? I can see a gorgeous creature with birds all over.
Yes, that's one of my sculptures. Well, yes, she's a red rebel in spirit, absolutely. She's got wrens on her, going, what can I do? I'm strong and I'm putting my energy out there and I'm seeing how I can make a difference.
I noticed that she's putting her necks high and her chin's leaning forward, but there's a real calmness. It's like she's a leader of some Egyptian army or something.
Oh, yeah, well, she could be, yeah. Some people say she's a bit like what might be at the front of a ship too. How often they would have a woman figure leading the ship. So yes, all of those things.
Red Rebels really changed the feeling of the protest site. First time I saw you guys in Lismore, the grief, very stark, strong and deep, looks painful. And I can't imagine what it's like doing it for an hour and a half walking around. It's like when you're studying theatre and you're going to Greek tragedy. It's that core release. Wow, that's healing me in some way. That's expressing for me in some way.
Moving slow motion for an extended period of time is quite taxing on the body, and it does take immense stillness and concentration to hold that. We do have grief and it is a release for it, and I like that you said that, Peter. It was almost like cathartic for you to witness that and to feel it and so on. But we also express other things like love of the earth and triumph. We're a very melodramatic street theatre performance. We might hand out a little pamphlet or something to explain what we are, because sometimes people are like, who are they? What are they? What's going on? Because we capture a lot of attention. The red is the symbol of the blood of all beings, of all, animals and humans alike. We inspire empathy in onlookers, make people go, oh, why am I feeling this? And oh, it's about earth and the climate. I can really feel this grief of what's happening. They may be inspired then to help with the change that we so desperately need to turn climate change around.
I draw on my priestess skills as a witch when I'm being a red rebel. I find myself very grounded, very centred, and go into a trance-like state. And my first experience of being a red rebel in Brisbane, found myself sort of connecting with, felt like every living being around me, like with the beating hearts of animals and the people around me. It is very intense emotionally, but from my experience of it, it comes over in waves. But it's not just grief, it's also a lot of compassion. Other people struggling with how they feel about the climate and ecological emergency. And I think that we're almost like a channel that we provide an opportunity that's gentle and compassionate and safe. And it's when we allow ourselves to actually face those feelings, feel the grief, feel the rage, feel the love, the compassion, the connection. That's what empowers us to be able to take action. And it's a way, because we're silent and we hold that energetic space, we help to create a safe container for other activists who are part of actions that we're part of as well, creating some warmth and empathy. If there's tension, say, between activists doing civil disobedience and the police, and sometimes Rebel Brigade acts as a buffer and helps to de-escalate and diffuse tense situations. And we can also act as a diversion as well, so that people can focus on what we're doing rather than maybe what other people are doing. So it's part of holding that energetic space and helping to create a safe space for people to be able to engage in civil disobedience and non-violent direct action.
Have you noticed how the police look at you as opposed to people locked on, or as opposed to families or men? Do they look at you differently?
Oh, in Brisbane they did. The police didn't know what to make of our outfits and performance. They really were quite perturbed by us, didn't understand. I couldn't help wondering whether they associated us with terrorists or ISIS or something because of these robes that we wear, because it seemed to cause so much unease in them.
Out in Canberra, what were they like then?
Oh, the police in Canberra were quite different from the Queensland police. They weren't rattled. They had clear boundaries around access to Parliament House itself, but apart from that, they were pretty relaxed. And that was my experience in London at Red Rebel action we did outside the Australian High Commission in London during the bushfires in January. The whole point of Extinction Rebellion is to create a bit of disruption. And I would say from a permaculture point of view, in order therefore to be growth and change, there needs to be a bit of disruption and disturbance for us to grow and change.
And so what about us born with male bodies who might identify as non-binary? Are they okay to be red rebels if they have red clothes?
Yes, it's non-gender specific. You can be cis male, you can be any gender you like to be a red rebel. It doesn't have to be a woman.
There's plenty of red rebels with beards.
Yes. Whoever you are, you can come and join in. You can email me, CINDYLOUVALLET
Whenever I'm at these rallies, I look around at the crowd. They're all friends of mine in a way. Like, there's not that many strangers. 45% are LGBTIQ.
Yeah, well, we're everywhere, Peter, aren't we? There's nothing like experiencing your own oppression to be able to connect and feel compassion for other examples of oppression. One of the things that got me through my childhood and being a young adult was my connection with the earth, my connection with the spirits of the earth, my connection with animals. And that was part of my survival strategy as a child. Opened gateways for me to connect with other beings in this world and other worlds. Holding that awareness as a young person and into my adulthood is one of the things that has given me the sensitivity and the passion to connect with other movements and to be an activist.
I guess there are quite a lot of LGBTIQ people who are right-wing, and they're probably not there. Whereas there's a lot of LGBTIQ people who are more soft left, and they are there, something like that. So there's still...
Or perhaps the people we're mixing with.
I guess that's the diversity argument, isn't it? It's back to the diversity within various communities. I mean, I would also say within reclaiming witchcraft and certainly the CloudCatcher community, there's certainly a high percentage of LGBTQI plus people. Everybody has a seat at the table. And so I think that people that are looking for a safe space and a seat at the table are drawn to communities like that.
Cindy, I'd love to hear a song that you connect with.
The Cocteau Twins, Carol's Fingers. It's very moody and ethereal. How I feel when I'm in the Red Rebel trance.
Hi, I'm Megan from Byron Shire. I'm a Red Rebel and I love listening to Fierce FM.
If you immerse yourself in the mythology of goddess-centered cultures of the planet, open yourself up to the folklore from the past and the witchcraft, how does that empower somebody?
It helped me remember who I was, part of the earth, that I am the earth, that each one of us is the earth's expression of herself. Thousands of years, humans have come together in celebration and ritual, and it's through coming together in community that we can have healthy, cohesive lives. A strong connection with the earth and respect for the earth and the land and the seasons. It's key to our survival as humans, is that connection with the earth, the connection with the elements, connection with each other in community. As a reclaiming witch, we would see 5 elements, so earth, air, fire, water, as sacred. We've got the earth as our body, air as our breath, fire as our heart or our blood. Most of our body is composed of water, and the spirit is, I guess, our essence. The world in our external environment is also a combination of those elements.
I've always related and resonated with the elements. After all, I work with earth and I create human and animal looking forms out of earth. Then that's put in fire to make that solid. Water is one of the biggest healers for me. I float in the water and then look up at the sky and look at the cloud formations and just be. I remember one time I was doing a ritual where I wanted to burn an old part of myself, and it was an old business jacket that I used to wear, a jacket when I was running a business, and I wanted for that part of myself for that moment to die. So I threw this jacket into a fire outside. As I was watching it burn, you know, something just sparked, and I swear to you, a heart shape just like exploded out of this burning. Yeah, and so magic happens with these elements right in front of our eyes at times.
We're coming up for spring equinox, and so that's a time of balance, day and night, harmony between all the elements and the harmony in our lives, balance.
Beautiful. Well, if you want to see more of Megan's background, her childhood and becoming involved with CloudCatcher, you can go to fiercefm.podbean.com. For August last year, when I interviewed Megan, the ritual of the community of CloudCatcher WitchCamp for the spring equinox. Do you need to be part of CloudCatcher WitchCamp to attend?
No, you don't, Peter. There's actually 2 rituals happening that weekend. CloudCatcher is a witch camp that Reclaiming put on that's based up near Springbrook. We're doing a community building connection online because we couldn't meet face to face this year. So that's an online event that's happening on the Saturday, the 19th September. Cindy and I are also involved with organising a spring equinox ritual in person as a reclaiming style ritual at Mullumbimby Community Gardens on Sunday, the 20th of September, 3 p.m. And everybody's welcome to attend that as well.
Spring is the sprouting seeds, new beginnings. So we can have answers through our meditation about what's true to us and new things to bring into our lives and the earth in general. Wear anything that makes you feel good and helps those things come into fruition. Yeah.
If I turn up and I haven't been to an event like this before, how do I feel safe? What will I be doing?
Do an acknowledgement of country. People can share their pronouns if they would like to. We're still planning what we're going to be doing in the ritual itself, but there will be something about connecting with spring and juxtaposition between the sort of Northern European concepts of the 4 seasons to the reality of what we experience here on Bundjalung country. It might be the winds of change coming through. That might be what the beginning of spring means for some people. It's also about the day length. Some things are flowering, some, you know, the birds are starting to have chicks and things. The echidnas are out looking for love. The pythons are out looking for food and looking for love. Like, it's about connecting with what's actually happening here. And then we'll be doing a visualization or a trance. I'm not going to give it all away, but just to give you an idea of the flavour. give thanks to the elements and open up the circle. Normally we would bring food to share, but at the moment, being a COVID safe event, we're going to limit it to 20 people, and we'll just need to bring food and have a feast together, but we'll need to eat our own food and drink from our own water bottles.
Where can people go to find and become part of this online event happening for the spring equinox?
Go to Southern Earth Reclaiming Facebook page. It's also on the CloudCatcher WitchCamp Facebook page.
Megan, it'd be great to get a song from you to finish the show today.
Call to the Elements by Labana, Earth, Air, Fire, Water, Spirit.
Thank you so much. You're both my fierce heroes. So grateful that you're in the world and protecting land, life and our future. Oh, I forgot to do happy birthday for Megan. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday, Megan. Thanks for coming on your birthday. Wow.
Bye. Stay fierce.
Bye.
My name is Mark McLaughlin, also known as Jewel in the fairy realms. I am a pole dancer and a gymnastics coach, spiritual healer and a psychic, and I currently live in Apocalypse, Melbourne, as I call it. I hope you enjoy this fabulous, fierce radio show.
The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. Aye, 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 aye. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. Aye, 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 aye. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. Aye, 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 the earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. Aye, 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 the earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. Aye, 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 the earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. Aye, 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 the earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. Aye, 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 the earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. Aye, aye,
Thank you for listening to Fierce. This program celebrates the diversity of LGBTIQ identities and perspectives. Fierce is produced in Bundjalung Country at 2NCR Lismore and can also be heard on podcast at fiercefm.podbean.com and in New Zealand on Fresh FM, as well as all over Australia through the Community Radio Network.
Fierce FM on Spotify.